And let's get more now on the Singapore side of the 1MDB investigation. Cynthia Ng joins me again. All right, so this news from Singapore comes just hours after the press conference from the U.S. Attorney General.
Yeah, that's right. So the U.S. Attorney General held the press conference just before midnight KL time. And then earlier this morning, we've heard from Singaporean authorities a joint statement put out by Singapore's Attorney General's chambers, the police force, specifically the Commercial Affairs Department, as well as Singapore's Central Bank. Now, the fact that they are doing this together indicates that the investigation is now taking on a much more coordinated approach, and the main message was this, that they have seized assets worth 240 Sing dollars, that's about $177 million US dollars, and these are bank accounts and dealing in properties. And here's the thing, the interesting part is that half of that figure belongs to Lo Jo, or Lau Teck Joe, and his immediate family. So in just a matter of hours, Joe Lo has been publicly named twice by foreign authorities in relation to possible fraud at 1MDB, US, Singapore. And of course, right now, we have to maintain that these are still just allegations, both on the state side as well as in Singapore.
Yeah, Joe Lo's name literally all over these papers here. Now, the authorities in Singapore not just naming individuals, also listing entities and banks as well.
Yes, you can see on the chart right there, these are the banks that were named. According to the joint statement, preliminary findings have uncovered problem at the four banks earlier. If you can pull up the chart that was played just right before. Now, the statement said that these four banks have become conduits for 1MDB related fund flows. And let me quote here, they are saying instances of control failings at the Singapore branches of UBS Group, Standard Chartered, and DBS Group, which is the country's biggest bank. And they also found substantial breaches of anti-money laundering regulations at Falcon Private Bank. Now, these fund flows and dealing with these banks includes connection with companies, as you can see right there. We've heard plenty of times, Goodstar, Abra BVI, Abra Investment PJS, and Tunnel Finance Corporation. Now, the same statement also, we had the Singapore Central Bank saying that they will be taking action against these financial institutions, those four that were mentioned earlier.
All right, so again, we note the timing, the statements coming from the Singaporean authorities just hours after the U.S. Attorney General's, but we have to note that these statements come on the back of months of intense investigations.
Well, not just months, it's been over a year now. Singapore authorities started this investigation back in March 2015. They have been looking into 1MDB dealings and their financial institutions dealing with this state fund. And if you remember, there was already one casualty in this investigation just 2 months ago. End of May, regulators pulled the plug on BSI and they decided to shut down the Swiss bank local unit over what it described as a serious breach of money laundering regulations connected to 1MDB. So now that they have completed their inspections of all these other four banks, we are still waiting for the assessment there, but we might possibly see more casualty, something definitely will be closely watching.
Right, so that is the Singapore side of the story. We note there are 9 other countries that are conducting investigations into 1MDB linked operations. Thank you so much, Cynthia Ng.